Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues. In the last episode, we launched an attack on New Reno, and we were able to rather quickly defeat them, and we've absorbed them. And we're going through the events to both, dealing with, having now acquired New Reno, and working through our presidential victory speech tree. We were able to purge the officers. We can't assassinate Dr. Anderson yet, because we need to get that purist faction support below 15%. That's going to take some work. Issue is that I had to do wild promises. So that's going to hit us. We will have to see what other options we eventually will get. Arrange a disappearance. Yeah, we're working on that. We were able to convince Mr. Bishop to join us from New Reno, because apparently he and Granite are inexplicably half-brothers. And he has helped us actually now disguise ourselves as New Reno, so that the NCR will not hopefully bother us, because they don't think that we are the Enclave. They think that we are New Reno instead. They're a little busy on their south anyway, so we'll hopefully be able to act with impunity for a little while. We're still justifying against the den. We don't have a ton of intel over here. Can we get somebody building an intel network in the den? That would be great. We actually have caps now, so we can start upgrading. Because Mr. Bishop gave us access to his resources. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go with Army Department, Army Intelligence. I don't think these have levels. These are just straight up unlocks. No, they do have, some of these do have levels. Okay. That one does. That one does. These 3, 4 do. Okay. Start work on those. What are we currently working on? A shared dream. Oh, actually, there's one other thing I noticed that we need to deal with. Deal with the vantagraphs. Let's see. We lose 3% legitimacy, 500 units of new Renoan AER 9E3 laser rifles added to stockpile. Manpower minus 200, local population of New Reno minus 1,000. Make a deal. Base stability minus 3%. Making a deal, I think, is going to be the better option. So let's do it. Dealing with the right. Some say that the Wright family has spent the last few decades building with one hand and destroying with the other, but compared to the other families, this makes them almost redeemable. Mr. Wright's vision of a more peaceful and stable New Reno is not entirely incompatible with our own. Let's see, we get plus 50 political power, 3 arms workshops. A political advisor, Chris Wright, which adds infrastructure construction speed, civilian factory construction speed, and New Reno compliance plus 10%. a political advisor. You know what? Let's allow him to go legit. The family of New Reno. Let's go. Hostile takeover of Petro Chico. This is a bloodbath in Mexico. Okay, I'm not gonna bother with that. It's kind of way outside of what really matters for us. So. Alright, the ones in charge of New Reno are one thing, the people of New Reno are another. While some are common citizens living in a tough town, the vast bulk of mercenaries, crime enforcers, and petty criminals. Oh. While they would dare not face us directly, they know the streets, and they can easily discover our patrol routes. There's a reason even the NCR had trouble trying to reign in New Reno. However, we're not the NCR, we're the Enclave. A few of our more bleeding hearts have suggested rebuilding infrastructure, providing goods and services in lieu of patrols. More traditional thinkers, however, know that enforcing the law in a lawless town and their dead bodies buried in Golgotha are all that are needed to remind wayward New Reno denizens that they need to mind their Uncle Sam. $50 political power, New Reno resistance target down, gain 150,000 bottle caps. Or we gain legitimacy. Let's get the legitimacy, because we really need to build that up. So, New Reno compliance plus 10% and 5% legitimacy. Are there any other options that we would want to go? Let's continue working down the New Reno tree. Alright, the new capital. Let's start that one. If we could select that, it'll knock down elites by 3%. That's probably not enough to really matter. This was what, October, right? Yeah, October. Do we have any better intel? Not really. You know what we didn't actually do? Oh, no, we did. No. The Wastelanders. With the city of New Reno now fully under our control, we are now governing over a significant amount of Wastelanders. As we cannot install Enclave members to every single position of influence in the city, some Wastelanders have begun exercising an amount of power within our borders. Base war support down. Change in popularity of people by 10%. People is this one here. They would take from both of us, I think. You know, the assassination only requires that we have 15% for purest faction. Doesn't have to say anything about our intellectual support. Okay. We should encourage this. We gain 3% legitimacy. War support down. Base war support is already pretty low. The People Party will now be called the Wastelanders. Change the popularity of people 15%. Yeah, we'll encourage that. New Reno slaves. During the liberation of New Reno, we would come across a large population of slaves, triggering off a debate as to whether we should allow the practice of slavery in these United States. Although there are those who say slavery is un-American, others point out that a captive workforce could be a boon to our economy and has historical precedent. Okay. As a compromise, we could adopt Vault City's servitude system, providing food, protection, and medical care in exchange for involuntary servitude. But others say that seems like slavery with extra steps. Slavery legal, which grants resource gain efficiency plus 5% and stability minus 4%, lose 5% legitimacy. Okay. Vault City's servitude is reasonable. Indentured servitude, which grants recruitable population factor minus 5%, factory output plus 5%, dockyard output plus 5%. Let's see. Effective change. Resource gain efficiency up, stability down, construction speed up, factory output up. Or we just take 5% legitimacy. I would rather not take the stability hit. Resource gain, 5%, 5%, 5%. I mean, it would build up. But you know what? I do want to reduce or increase legitimacy. This is political power gain, compliance, growth. We'll take the legitimacy. No slavery. All right. Oh, and we need to select it here. The first brick, we get 4 building slots, 2 civilian workshop, and 3 infrastructure. Recruitable policy, let's see, Enclave police. Stability plus 5%, resistance activity chance minus 5%. We'll get the Enclave police. We'll start that. You know what? Let's go ahead and drop this down. Let's get repairs done. Texas Brotherhood took 2 states. Desperados was annexed. Users Legion took more stuff. Army Department. Let's go ahead and get an Air Force Department. Aren't you guys rooting out resistance? Apparently... Oh, can we actually do anything yet? No. Only at 6% building intel network. Well, let's send another person there. Rogue Rangers. Rogue Rangers declare war on the 215th. Alright, what are we actually looking at here? We're at 27%. Alright. Followers of the Apocalypse. Following the recent establishment of our neighboring rivals, a group of humanitarian pacifists who dubbed themselves the Followers of the Apocalypse have begun trickling into our lands. Their aim is seemingly noble, to provide services to those in need, ranging from medical care to agricultural service. They care for the parts of society we prefer to forget, be them homeless or junkies, and are accepting all that have no one left to turn to. On this front, we have no qualms with them. After all, who would refuse free medical supplies? Problems only start to arise when you look closely at our neighbors, where the followers have been established for a while. Support for any sort of war amongst the people of these nations is slipping, as they prefer to stay on their farmsteads and practice their new medicines. There's even some indication that the followers accept seditious anarchists into their ranks, who are intent on either burning our nation to the ground or seizing power themselves. We may need to keep an eye on them. Therefore, if we decide to tolerate the followers remaining in our land, once established, the followers appear very difficult to uproot. We must utilize, which therefore decide swiftly before they have a chance to settle down properly. Whether or not we should welcome these followers of the Apocalypse and their strange beliefs into our lands. Accepting them will undoubtedly bring benefit. What of the long-term costs? Us to use special powerful decisions to gain certain benefits. However, if we are cruel, wicked, and bloodthirsty, they might have demands of their own to make on us. Oh, we're going to be doing a lot of aggressive work. So I'm not sure bringing these guys in are going to be a great idea. Because we're going to be basically fighting everyone. So, yeah, we're going to pass. We're going to pass on that. So we have those two decisions. Let's take them. Mojave territories took 3 states. Mojave chapter was annexed. After days of siege and relentless fighting, Hidden Valley has fallen. Mojave territories has been able to take the extensive bunker network of Hidden Valley, though pockets isolated to resistance still remain. Yep, NCR is collapsing the rapids. All right, basic tools. Let's work on these. Let's go with advanced smeltery. Oh, actually, I wanted to do something else, didn't I? Was that air work? Yeah, motorized flight. Yeah, that's what we wanted. One of these other ones, we can move over to that once they're done. Air Force Department. Good. Let's go with merchant spies. We don't really need a Navy department right now. We're nowhere even close to water. Stonks. We aren't quite sure what an index fund is, or if they even exist. Against advice from our esteemed advisor Jeremy, this investment has done great in growing the wealth of our nation. We gained 60,000 bottle caps. All right. Enclave police. New Reno is safer than you'd expect for a city with no police force, but that's because order is maintained by a gentleman's agreement between the families. We could incorporate many of their mobsters into our new police force, or we could start from scratch, with police trained by Sergeant Dornan. You say, why don't we just use these guys? 5% legitimacy, manpower plus 500. Stability down. Base stability minus 10%. That'd be a big hit, but 5% legitimacy and plus 100 political power. We'll take the legitimacy. Out with the old. I guess we do need to assign a Navy command. Actually, it'd probably be better off to just go ahead and modify the government. Well, let's see what decisions we can take, because we do need to reduce a purist faction. That's a problem. That's a big problem. Oh, we are getting the hide activities from the NCR. I see. Divert their supplies. We're gonna do army exercises. We're gonna do hold a small speech. And we'll try with that. Is there anything else that we could potentially do? Weekly war support. Weekly stability. Okay, we need a new... we have this now. Building workshops and infrastructure. 30 days. 100 political power. Change in popularity of elites down. You know what? We're going to go down this route. We're going to hold off on this. We're going to go down this route. Reno Reborn. It looks like that's going to let us kick the elites down a little bit. Dedicated workshops. Alright, good. Let's go ahead and get the advanced smeltery. Actually, I don't necessarily want to spend the political power right now, because we are going to have this coming. All right. Reno Initiative. Due to a mix of strategic importance, the defenses of Las Vegas, and its sheltered location within the Sierra Mountains, the city of Reno survived the war mostly intact. However, that didn't mean it survived the intervening years unscathed. With the collapse of government and authority, the city's already prolific gang violence tore the city apart. It wasn't until the end of the 22nd century that the city stabilized behind several crime families. By the mid-23rd century, it had stabilized behind 4 families. Now in the late 23rd century, the Enclave has arrived, and with it, Granite. While the Enclave soldiers had replaced gang enforcers, the city remained in a dilapidated state, made worse by the recent fighting between the gang enforcers and the Enclave soldiers. In a radio address of the city, the president proposed the Reno Initiative, a grand project to turn the city from a rundown dive of vice and crime to a jewel of the wasteland befitting the capital of the Enclave in whatever form it would take. The NCR might boast of shady sands and the house brag about New Vegas, a bright light and a blighted landscape, but when caravans or travelers visited Nevada, it would be New Reno that would be the greatest city in the wastes. You know what? Gain base stability plus 5%. Let's go ahead and do reform the Secret Service. Allow me to introduce myself. Back when he was a mercenary commander, Granite lived for the fight, but hated that he would often have to do paperwork. Oftentimes, he would get his subordinates to do it for him, allowing him to throw back with the men. Now, all he had was paperwork, and he was seriously regretting running for president. So the door to his office opened, and an older man in a gray suit entered. Granite took it as the best excuse to not do paperwork. Mr. President, allow me to introduce myself, Felix Grayson, the closest thing to the law in Sierra Army Depot. Granite nodded. The thought was Grayson explaining his stance on law and order, as well as his dedication to upholding said law. Granted faint interest because, at the very least, the man talked a good story before Grayson came to the crux of why he was here. Mr. President, if you allow me to take up the position of Attorney General in your cabinet, I wish to conduct a campaign and apprehend and arrest raiders that have conducted various and horrendous crimes across our great nation. Anderson would just have them all destroyed, but I believe in the power of the justice system, as what separates us from these raiders. I have a small contingent of former Vault City guards I've affectionately named the U.S. Marshals ready to serve. Granite looked down at his desk, seeing 3 requisitions from officers requesting to go after various raider groups. Granite needed to review each one and most likely change how said officers did it, especially since one was requesting vertebrates to assist in eradicating a whole settlement. Putting on his best contemplative look, Granite looked back to Grayson. I understand and respect your commitment to this nation of justice. Here we go. Here, we got at least 3 raider groups the army is after. Take the marshals and go after them. You have my full authority as a new Attorney General. Alright. Is available as an advisor. Starting new level. Daily intellectual support. There we go. That's still increasing. But they're going to be taking from the Dornan loyalists. Alright, merchant spies. Enemy national, recruitment chance, occupied friendly national, operative recruitment choices. Let's go with interrogation techniques. Doctrines are available. Let's go with silver lining. Alright, new California Republic, annex the Rapids. Alright, 24%. Our intel is still not great. Reform the Secret Service. Let's patrol the streets. Baseball. The president decided to revive a pre-war game to boost patriotism and has gone on the radio with a new speech. We've been thinking quite a bit lately about something we can all relate to, something that is unquestionably, unescapably American. I'm referring, of course, to our great national pastime, baseball. Now ask yourself this. What if Nevada's gamblers could live again? What if they could compete with baseball teams for California or Oregon? Put your faith in the Enclave, great America, and baseball will live again. Comfort, recreation, healthy competition, all will live again. This country will live again. Let's take in legitimacy. Base war support. Oof. Moreno returns. Orion Moreno, a soldier that used to serve in the Enclave until the destruction of Navarro. Like many others, he fled south into the NCR. A loyal soldier, he had never given up on the Enclave's dream of a restored America. When rumors of the Enclave's return reached him, Orion packed his bags to rejoin his comrades in arms. All available as a high command. Dr. Henry returns. Dr. Henry is an ex-Enclave medical scientist. He used to work with the Enclave Cybergenetic Research Program at the Poseidon Oil Rig and at various other Enclave installations. Later, he deserted the Enclave due to a conflict with other scientists. When he received word of revival of the Enclave, he was skeptical at first. But once news spread of our efforts to become a worthy American government, he has left his clinic in order to rejoin the Enclave and get one more grand accomplishment done. Now available as a political advisor. A new profession seems to have appeared recently in the wasteland. People who call themselves realtors keep trying to buy and sell shacks for no apparent reason. This has caused some slight instability in the region, but we think as it is an easy way to part some peasants with their bottle caps. Unregulated shack markets. Country-based node income plus 50% for 181 days. Maybe some oversight is wise. We'll go with that one. Okay. Cultural policies. Daily intellectual support. War support minus 5%. Stability plus 10%. So we're going to need, what, 50 political power to hide our activities from the NCR. Let's go with the Reformer. To get that daily intellectual support. There we go. All right. That's what we want to see. Okay, but I think we're at the end of the episode, so we'll go ahead and stop here for now. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.